Hello, I'm Katy Collins, and I am a doula. Welcome to my office hours.
The doula is in! We human wonder machine. So ask the doula. Help me to know my own agenda. I am grow. What's up, Breit? I'm grow. Should I be scared? Human being.
Let's start with what a doula is.
A doula is a person who supports women. A birth doula is a professional person and advocate that supports a mother, baby, and birth team emotionally, educationally, and physically during labor. It's women supporting women in their childbirth experience.
Our body should not be taboo. Knowledge is power, and I'm here to support you in your learning process.
Knowledge is power!
In 2015, the United States ranked 5th highest in infant mortality among first world countries. We also have very limited options in terms of giving birth, where we give birth, how we give birth, why we give birth. For instance, home births are illegal in most states. Comparatively, in England in 2016, home births were the recommended place to give birth, according to the World Health Association. So why aren't we better? We can totally do this. So let's raise our babies better. Let's become better together. Excuse me. Katy Collins, doula speaking.
Okay, so you have a baby and then you breastfeed it, but like, does your milk just like come in instantly? It just happens that day, you don't have to like work on it? Or
yeah, speaking of boobs, actually, so I heard something about nipples where you're supposed to take something and chafe them really hard so they become rough so that you can breastfeed without them bleeding. Is this something I really should be doing, or is that crazy?
Katy,
It is crazy.
Katy, I'm not ready to loofah my boobs.
No.
Does that mean I'm not ready to have a baby? When is it time to make this decision? When's it too late? What do we do?
It's a really good question.
I just don't even know how to start talking about this or who to talk to.
Well, that's a lot of questions. What are the birth basics? Pretty much, guys, in order for a human mammal to give birth, you can do it out of your vagina or the C-section. 2 options.
Vaginal birth.
The woman's uterus will contract, the baby will come down inside this uterus, bloop, 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 and then the bottom of this uterus, the cervix, is gonna thin out and open, and then the baby's head is gonna come down and be pushed out. This is like the pelvic bone, pushed out. No baby comes down in the same way. It depends on how baby's positioned in the uterus. They can be in many ways, and during birth, they're gonna keep moving to try to find that specific right way to get down underneath the pelvic bone and come up. So the baby's moving to find the right way to come down. The uterus also has to contract in very consistent, strong contractions in order to get that baby down. It depends on the shape of mother's pelvis, the size of the baby, size of baby's head, the strength of the contractions. Many, many variables can be a factor in whether we have a birth that takes an hour or a birth that takes a few days. We do know that your first baby will take the longest.
Every birth is different.
Your uterus is the strongest muscle in your body, and it's never done this before, so it needs a little bit more warm-up time.
Fun fact.
After you give birth to your baby, you will then birth your placenta. It should feel much easier to birth your placenta than your baby because the placenta is smaller and softer. It's the organ that your body grew to keep your baby alive for 9 months.
Not so fun fact.
After birth, your uterus needs to shrink back down to prevent hemorrhaging. So your healthcare provider is going to massage your belly after you give birth to baby and placenta, and it's going to be really uncomfortable.
You're gonna need some
Oxytocin.
What is oxytocin? If only we had an expert.
Ask an expert.
Hello, my name is Dr. Jessica Robbins, and I'm an assistant professor of organic chemistry. Organic chemists study carbon-based molecules, such as hormones. Hormones are signaling molecules, meaning they allow remote parts of the body to communicate with one another. Hormones that you may be familiar with but didn't realize were hormones are insulin, melatonin, and adrenaline.
Oxytocin.
Oxytocin is released from the pituitary gland in the brain and travels all over the body. For example, when it binds to the mammary glands, it stimulates the production of milk. And when oxytocin binds to receptors in the uterus, it causes uterine contractions.
Thanks, Professor. Oxytocin, the love hormone, is the hormone that is released when you have sex.
Oxytocin.
Oxytocin is going to make you feel loved and safe and protected, and also let your uterus contract. Conversely, adrenaline is your fight or flight hormone. That's going to pump all your oxygen into your arms and your legs to give you strength and power to run or get away from danger. If you were in a cave giving birth and a bear came into that cave, your body would completely stop laboring and you would be able to run away. Even if you were like contracting crazy hard and being amazing in labor, your body would like run away as fast as it could and labor somewhere else when you felt safe and protected. One of my favorite ways to stimulate oxytocin is nipple stimulation. A lot of times I like to tell couples that I will leave the room for 15 minutes and maybe they should just make out with each other. It's a great way to get labor flowing.
Oxytocin.
Oxytocin is a powerful hormone, especially during the labor process. Think about when you have a really good night of sex and you remember certain things, you remember certain tastes, you remember certain moments, but you're not cognitively thinking about time. Which is why during labor, you're not going to remember moment to moment to moment or have a concept of time. I had one woman be like, God, I remember being on that toilet. And like, after that, I started pushing. And I was like, well, then you got in the shower for like an hour. Do you not remember that? And she was like, nope. Which is why some people have more than one child. Well, that concludes office hours for today. Please leave your questions and comments below. And remember, no topic is taboo. Oh, I should take this. Katy the doula. Oh, awesome. Well, that sounds normal. How far apart do you think they're coming? Cool. Cool. What position are you in?
1, 2, 3. The birthing of a baby, vaginatomic health, with questions for empowerment of my postpartum self. Ask the doula.